Well, good afternoon, everybody. Excuse me, I don't know what's more difficult, following lunch or following Peter, or a comedian for that matter. So, great first half of the day. I appreciate being here. My name is Mike Miedler, for those of you who don't know me. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. So, just to say it out loud, Peter just reminded me why I don't watch news or television at all. Nobody else? Okay. Well, I was just literally in the backyard of our number 2 company in the world. And boy, are they loud. So what does it sound like when you're with the number 1 company in the world, live and in person? There you go. That's what I wanted to hear. You know, I think honestly the best part, and Dan said this earlier, it's really cool that we get together and we're here and we're in person, and they put an amazing lineup of speakers in place to talk and educate us on moving the business forward, whether it was Jared James or Mary Beth Holt or Simon, of course, all the wisdom that Dan shared this morning. But truly, the biggest benefit, the biggest value is this right here. It's every single one of you sitting down together over lunch, having a beer or a glass of wine last night, talking about the marketplace, sharing best practices, masterminding, and help pushing one another forward. This brand, this industry, this organization, Century 21 affiliated, is about you guys. It's about the people. You guys are all here for one another, and it's just amazing to see you get together for the first time in a long time and do what you're doing. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. had a quick saying. He said, the measure of a person really isn't in times of convenience and comfort, but it's in controversy and challenge when you should really measure people. And Peter said this earlier, and I'm going to take a lot from what he said, but I have never been more proud to be part of this amazing organization than I am today. Because when you look back 18 months ago, as Dan said, and think about where we were as a country, as a world, as an industry, not knowing what was going to happen, and then see every single person in this room and in this system and in this industry literally push and serve our clients, our customers, our families, our communities, and go out and show up and work every single day. If you guys don't know it, around every home sold, there's anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 of economic activity that happens in the local marketplace. On top of that, as Peter was mentioning, we're about 20% of the GDP that happens in this country. And so I want to thank you guys for literally standing the American economy back up on its feet and giving everyone a place to homeschool, work from home, meet with their family in a safe environment, and provide that dream of home ownership throughout every single one of your marketplaces around the many, many states that you guys serve. So you guys all deserve a big round of applause for doing that. And let's be honest, we have been on an absolutely wild ride. I talked to a lot of my great dear friends here at Century 21 affiliated last night at the cocktail party. But no matter how you stack it up, and let's take the elephant out of the room, right? We had a global pandemic, which is still far-reaching and has affected many, many people around the world. On top of that, we had a recession. And we're in a space right now where no matter what you look at, we're at a record high or a record low. Price, record what? Inventory, record what? Right? No matter what you do, days on market, go through the list. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes. But we've seen some crazy things where we've had to pivot and reimagine the way that we do business. Reimagine the way that we interface with customers. Reimagine our safety protocols, how we hold an open house, how we close a transaction. And you guys pushed forward what I think like 10 years in advance in literally 18 months to, again, serve your customer and deliver that dream of home ownership. Here's the good news, is that this confidence, and we'll talk about supply and demand, is going to continue to move forward for consumers. The truth of the matter is, what I get concerned about is everybody in this room running so hard and sprinting for 18 straight months in a row. Because the truth is that we have been in this sprint, and what is usually a seasonal business where you can actually take a vacation and some downtime and care for yourself, you guys haven't been able to do. You've had to pivot and keep working harder than you ever have, probably in most of your careers. And again, the results have been amazing, but you have to take 1 minute, some downtime every single day to bring clarity to yourselves so that you can continue to serve the folks that you're serving out on the front line every single day. So we've been in this sprint, right? And Dan's talked a lot about the fundamentals and where the business is headed and what he sees from an inventory standpoint. And when you look at the macroeconomics of our business and where we're at from a country standpoint, I can tell you guys, we are in for a really long marathon. And that marathon might look like we don't actually get 20 offers over a weekend or sell a home literally within 24 hours of listing it, right? But that's not going to be a bad thing. If you don't know, from a demand perspective, we are literally dealing with the 2 largest generations in U.S. history. How many millennials do we have in the room? Everybody, we get made fun of a lot, right? The millennials who are out there? No, maybe? A couple in the room, the ones who are in here don't even want to put their hands up. Right behind them, Gen Z. There's a total of 160 million of them, and they are literally storming the marketplace to get their dream of home ownership and to really start building wealth for themselves and their family. If you don't know it, the millennials won't reach the median age for the average first-time home buyer for another 4 years. So they're coming and they're going to continue to come. On top of that, we have saved more. The savings rate in this country has been greater in the last 12 months than it has been in the previous decade. On top of that, we know that mortgage rates are at an all-time low. They're putting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of buying power into our consumers' pockets, and those are not going to jump up really, really high. So it's going to be a point where we've got to continue to educate our consumers and our potential buyers out there of what's happening in the market. Let's talk about it for a little bit, because here's the other end of the coin, is that from an inventory standpoint, which is probably our greatest challenge, we have underbuilt in this country for a decade. And the homes that we need, that first-time home buyer swath, is really not out in our marketplace. So we've got to figure out how to get more creative and how to bring more inventory to our marketplace in every single local market that we serve. On top of that, we all know this, the cost of materials and inflation and lumber and labor and all those things in the supply chain are really stopping that from happening in our local marketplaces. So we have to be out there in the community trying to work with builders and everybody else to bring more inventory to the marketplace, because the population is going to demand it. This is what we've seen. Dan's mentioned a lot of these in numbers. 114 straight months in a row of year-over-year price increases. Nobody knows it better than everybody in this room. But I think what you're seeing in the inventory bucket, I've talked to a lot of folks last night, is that things have started to slow, meaning inventory is starting to creep up. Gang, that's not a bad thing. We have 2 months supply of inventory. A normal market is 6 months of supply. You know, I was talking to Mary Schultz last night and we were laughing. She's like, a condo has been on market right now in her marketplace for 30 days. And so what are consumers saying immediately? What's wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe it's a little overpriced, maybe it's not in the best location. But if we get back out there in front of our buyers who decided to rent because they got beat out on 12 or 15 properties over the last 18 months, and educate them about where the market is moving, because it is moving, guys. We all feel it, we all know it. It's moving to a more normal market, but if you're out there educating your consumers, if you're out there educating your buyers and bringing them valuable information and insight about your local market, you guys will continue to do more business and be looked at as that trusted advisor. Here's the good news. We talk about how overpriced things are or how much it's crept up for those 115 straight months. If you look at the affordability index from a mortgage perspective and the median income of a family household right now, a home is still very, very affordable with 20% down. And you need to get that story out to potential buyers. Again, it's just about finding inventory. So again, I think the market, gang, is moving in the right direction. It's moving to a more normal market, and that's going to be good for the sanity of everybody in this room. Let's talk a little bit about Century 21. So Century 21 and our brand has seen tremendous momentum. I love what Dan said. There is no other more recognized brand in the world. We have grown to be in 86 countries, 14,000 plus offices, close to 160,000 professionals, and guess what? You're sitting with the #1 company in the world right now, so congratulations. I know Tom Brett says this with me a lot. You're either growing in this business or you're dying. We, from a Century 21 perspective, you guys can feel confident every single day you walk out there that not only is Century 21 affiliated growing, but we as a global organization are growing up in volume, outpacing the industry for literally the last 8 months in a row. Our average sales price is greater than NAR, and we have more website leads and more traffic coming our way than we've seen in the last 12 months. We'll talk about that in a little bit. On top of that, we are above and beyond the most recognized and respected brand out there. Anytime you sit down with the consumer in your marketplace or at the kitchen table, they will know that you represent trust and confidence. The reason is because of every single one of you. The reason we have these awards, if you don't know, is because we as a brand have been intentional about customer service and all the things that Simon was talking about earlier today. How many folks in this room use quality service in the quality service survey? If you don't, I would love if you made that a goal for yourself in the back half of this year or early in 2022. And I'll tell you why. The folks who are intentional about quality service and actually measure what their clients think about them and score 90% or better in the process do double the amount of business than every other agent in our system. So be out there, be intentional, use the product, and bring some of those things that Simon was talking about to life. Another thing, we are the fastest growing franchise in the world in any industry named by Entrepreneur Magazine. Again, not just in real estate, but in any industry because of the things that you guys are doing out there. On top of that, we're shouting our story loud, as Peter probably just told you in many, many ways. And what we'd love for you to do is continuing to use our brand products, Century 21 Online, our brand studio, to help you do what Peter just implored everybody to do, is to control the narrative and be able to tell how you're bringing trust and confidence to the real estate experience, guys. It's ultimately important. We're only as good as every single agent who holds our card and every single broker and owner that flies the Century 21 flag. Keep telling our story loud and clear. Peter told you a little bit about our media mentions. I won't go into that. We have been all over the news and all over the industry trades talking about what Century 21 is doing in this year, our 50th anniversary, what I call 2021, the year of Century 21, the year of hopefully every single person in this audience. On top of that, if you haven't connected with Mary Beth Holt or haven't taken one of her classes today, make sure you go in there and do it. From a learning and university perspective, we have some amazing courses that are helping push our professionals forward. We've had the podcast, which if you haven't listened to it, is a great way not only to get motivated, but to take your careers to the next level in this great real estate industry. Hopefully you guys are leveraging that through Century 21 Online. Additionally, we're driving growth, again, through our 21 Online services, some of the referral programs we have, as well as our QSS. And more importantly, what we've been doing over the last year or so is what we call expanding the neighborhood. It's one of our important house habits. I had the opportunity to just be out at NAREP a few weeks ago at the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, where we were literally the title sponsor from a real estate perspective. And what we did there is talk about where the real estate market is headed, where this country is headed with diverse and inclusive ownership in the housing space. We've got to make sure that we are bringing more diverse folks with different backgrounds into the real estate business and helping them get off the ground. And I know nobody is better at it than Century 21 affiliated because of the amount of new licensees that you bring in and the incredible success that you set them up for through your mentorship, through your training, and through just the folks and the people and the organization that you are. We have an incredible program called Empowering Latinas, where we go out and give scholarships to young Latinas who are in high school and even college to get in and mentor them into the real estate business. If you guys are working in your local market, it's a great way to break into new marketplaces because it's where home ownership in this country is headed. On top of that, we kicked off Project Destined in giving back to our communities. We actually did our first mentorship right here, teaching underprivileged youths in junior college about an opportunity in real estate. We did it right here in Chicago. We plan to bring this program to Washington, D.C. And I think what this does, gang, is it speaks really highly of a lot of the conversation that I had with many of you last night, which is essentially that as real estate professionals, it's not just about delivering that dream of home ownership, but it's about giving back to our local communities and making those communities a better place for the people that we serve. So keep up the amazing job on that front and keep pushing those local communities forward. As far as investing in you, we rolled out our tracker just a few short months ago. I don't know if anybody in this room has downloaded or used it. It's essentially an app on your phone that allows you to overcome the biggest obstacle and complaint that we get from consumers, which is what? They don't hear from the real estate professional, right? After they list a property or after they sell it, they don't hear from it. This app will allow you to communicate through every one of those 180 steps from the time that you make an offer on a home to the time you guys hand over the keys and deliver that dream of home ownership. I think Simon said it really well. Like, there are so many steps throughout the process. You guys are chief cook, bottle washer, market knowledge expert, head negotiator, marriage counselor, all of those things that it takes every single day for you to get that deal to the finish line. And this will enable you guys to communicate in a better fashion and hopefully in a way that meets your consumer where they want to be, right on their phone and their mobile app. Next, and hopefully you guys know this already, but we are rolling out MoxieWorks. MoxieWorks is essentially a technology tool that I can tell you is best in class, and it's one of the things that, from a Century 21 standpoint, I get extremely excited about. Because what we've learned literally in the last decade is that, like our competitors are learning now the hard way, that there is no perfect end-to-end platform for technology. The best technology that you can use in real estate is the ones that you guys will use and adopt and make you more efficient in the marketplace. So what we've learned, unlike some of the other companies out there, like a real estate company that said they're going to become a technology company, or like some of our competitors that thought that they could buy a piece of technology and roll it out and had to stop midstream, is that we need to create open architecture and a system and a process that allows you to pick and choose from the things that move your business locally. Because what can work in Kenosha doesn't necessarily work in Chicago. And what works in Grand Rapids doesn't necessarily work in Tampa. And so what we're doing is creating, alongside of MoxieWorks, with their CRM and with their CMA and with basically their entire platform, is a technology where you can plug and play all the different things that you use locally to make you successful, whether they're social media widgets or closing tools that are given to you by Century 21 affiliated, into the program so that you guys have a very seamless experience in managing everything from prospecting to closing a transaction and beyond. We're excited about it. Here's the hard part, is that, yeah, Mike, you've talked about it a lot. When are we getting it? I know Matthew said that to me last night. So we are literally rolling this out in early access. And with a company of this size and stature that crosses many different marketplaces, we're letting some others get all the bugs fixed so that we can come to you when we have a perfect product and roll it out to Century 21 affiliated and let you guys execute with it. Here's the truth of the matter. Moxie will tell you this, the folks who use their CMA platform do 50% more production than other agents in the business. And we found that the folks who are using their Present tool are 70% more effective in getting a listing. The tool is exciting, guys. I hope it's going to help every single one of you. The most important part is that we all engage with it. We're also harnessing the tools from Century 21 Online and helping you create more branded experience and more marketing for yourselves out there for your personal brands. As far as celebrating half a century of doing nothing halfway, we had right here in Chicago at the Navy Pier, hopefully many of you were there, the kickoff and premiere of our National Geographic special, which basically shows how home is being rediscovered here in America. Has anybody watched it? Anybody sent it to their clients? A few folks, okay. It is actually an amazing documentary and shows you the journey of home buyers and sellers and what they're thinking about and how home means even more than it has to the American public today than even call it 18 months ago. I think you guys can watch it on replay. It's an amazing documentary. From a Century 21 affiliated perspective, you guys are leading the way. When we talk about if you're not growing, you're dying, you guys have just expanded into Key West with 6 brand new locations. Anybody here from the Midwest area or Chicago? Because I heard a lot of folks volunteering to transfer their license down to Florida for January through March last night. Hopefully you will see a lot of referrals out of that. On top of that, across the board, 70% more Century 21 affiliated agents earned the President's Producer last year in 2020. And to one up that, this year, 136 Century 21 affiliated individuals, teams, and offices are on track to be winners in some of our trophies and awards. That's because of all the hard work and relentlessness that you guys have put into your business over the last 9 months. We have some relentless agents in the room. Any of you guys here right now? So let me just tell a quick story about what I mean by relentless agents. We've got so many people who have so many great stories, and I hear them about you guys all the time. I'll just give you one about Vanessa and Rebecca. So this is a group, 2 agents, they're sisters, that went out, and when you talk about customer experience and making sure that you're doing everything along the way, they went and moved a military family who the husband actually happened to be deployed and already in a different marketplace. They helped the wife pack up the home, put it in their car and van, and move it across to the new market. Did they have to do that? No. Will their customers refer them to another family that wants to have that dream of home ownership or is moving into a new market? Absolutely, right? I mean, it's those amazing stories, and I've heard so many from you guys over the last year that really changed defying mediocrity and delivering extraordinary into something tangible. And again, I don't think the public recognizes how much we all do in order to move this country forward and in order to move folks into homes. So congratulations. On top of that, you guys also had the number 3 and number 4 rookies of the year in the NAREP Top 250. I don't know if Cynthia or Jonathan are in the room today, but congratulations. And last but not least, as far as giving back to your communities, I know that you guys have the affiliated, basically, fund that gives back to so many different charities. On top of that, you guys also raised $13,000 for local Easter seals through all of your efforts. And I know each one of you individually give back in your own way to your local communities or to different charitable causes that you guys all have in your local markets. And I think at the end of the day, this is really what it's all about. Not just building wealth for Americans, but how you're caring for your communities. Congratulations, especially to Renee, who again is giving back to things that she is really endeared about in her local market. I know each and every one of you guys are doing it every single day. Well done, Renee. So let me end up like this. We have literally probably 2.5 months to get to the finish line in 2021, the year of Century 21, the year of everybody in this room. I know you guys are running real hard, working extremely late hours in order to go out and serve your customers. But as you build for your 2022 plan, I want to tell you guys a quick story, and I've said this a bunch of times, so hopefully it's not repetitive for folks in this room. But at the end of 2019, I actually saw a gentleman called the Iron Cowboy speak at our leadership event. I don't know if anybody in this room was there. He was a gentleman who did 50 Ironman in 50 days in 50 different states. It's like a absolutely, completely crazy physical accomplishment. In fact, last year, I think he did 100 Ironman in 100 straight days, but that's just a different discussion. So we were, with a bunch of other Century 21 brokers, inspired enough to say, hey, you know what, we could do an Ironman. Let's go out and try to do it. And so I did it with a handful of Century 21 brokers. We started training for this event in 2020, and obviously COVID comes into play. And so I'm going in and doing a bunch of long hours, getting up early in the morning, trying to train for this big event that I know is going to be a huge physical feat. And I'm feeling bad for myself because I don't even know if it's going to happen because of COVID, right? But halfway through the summer, I found out that this young gentleman, a 21-year-old kid named Chris Nikic from Orlando, Florida, was actually training for the event as well. And Chris Nikic was going to be, you can look him up on your phone, he was on ESPN, NBC Sports, really you can find him anywhere on the internet. Chris Nikic was going to be the first Down syndrome individual to ever try to compete in an Ironman. See, Chris is a guy who's filled with energy and enthusiasm. I was lucky enough to get to meet him during the training week in Florida where we competed in the same event. That's a picture of us right there on the beach. And Chris comes right up to you, COVID or not, doesn't even know me, complete stranger, gives me a big hug. And his energy for life is just, you could feel it reverberating through everybody he's around. And so I got an opportunity to also meet his dad and his team, who basically said that Chris set out on this journey because this was going to be a life goal. And this is a kid who literally had multiple surgeries to keep himself alive when he was a young kid. Couldn't feed himself until the age of 6. Had spent 5 different years in 7 different schools. And honestly, he struggles to do things that you and I take for granted every single day. His real goals in life are to be just like us. Drive a car, get married, and to one day hopefully own a home. But for 2020, his goal, what he put on his big board, was to become an Ironman. And with his support team around him, he had a mantra of getting 1% better every single day. His dad drilled it home to him. Chris, whether it's a physical accomplishment that we're working on, whether it's biking, running, or swimming, or whether it's mentally stronger, we got to get 1% better every single day. And when the Ironman took place, he had his challenges. He literally pulled over for a water break and got eaten upside his legs by red ants, swelled up his legs. At mile 80, he fell off his bike, had a huge gash in his leg. And during the marathon, the last part of it, his dad could see the pain, suffering, and his desire to quit. And so, like many times in life, his dad had to pull him over and give him a pep talk right in the middle of the marathon. He said, Chris, we got a battle going on. And one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to let your pain get a win, or you're going to let your dreams win. And with literally 15 minutes left in the time that they give you to complete an Ironman, Chris Nikic crossed the finish line and became the first Down syndrome individual to ever compete or to complete an Ironman event. And I think as you guys start planning for what you're trying to accomplish as individuals or personally for the rest of this year or beyond, I think this speaks so strongly to the human spirit and what's possible if you guys just try to get 1% better every single day and have that mindset that you're going to go out and conquer the world. So guys, I appreciate every single thing that you guys do from a Century 21 perspective, day in, day out, to serve on the front lines. Trust me, we don't take any of it for granted. And I just want to thank you guys for some of the amazing accomplishments that you've had and wish you guys a ton of success moving forward, and want to leave you with this quick video.
And Chris Nikic is training for one of the most grueling endurance races in the world.
Keep this pace up, right like this.
An Ironman triathlon, a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a full 26.2-mile marathon.
This is your day. It's gonna be a personal best today, okay?
Oh, personal best, huh?
Personal best today.
All right, here we go. It's game time. Let's go.
What if Chris could do something that's never been done? What an impact that would have on his life and others like him around the world. What if we just do an Ironman? He says, okay, what's that? I said, well, it's just a little longer than a sprint. And he said, okay, let's do it, Dad.
One more time. Down, up.
The idea is met with doubters and skeptics. When Chris's coach, Dan Grebe, seeks some help from a fellow coach to create a training plan for Chris, he refuses to help.
Coach says, no, I'm not designing a plan. I said, why not? He said, he can't handle the ocean swim. It's too dangerous. And then he's gonna fail. And then I said, do me a favor, let me just answer this question for me. I said, if Chris was a 20-year-old without Down syndrome, would you design a plan for him? He says, I would. I said, okay. I need you to give my kid the same chance you would give anybody else.
All the way, all the way. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, all the way.
I'm so proud of you, baby. That was the best ever. How you feel, baby?
I need you.
You need me? Okay. When you have a child with Down syndrome, you don't fit in. They don't get invited to parties. They don't get invited to anything. Everything you do is a challenge. It's a fight. Other fathers don't get to experience that. You have to battle everything in order to just get them to be included. That's his whole year plan. Every day he stands up there and writes down what he achieved for the day.
The goal is Ironman in November 7. We have to get 1% better every day.
The 1% better concept is a way to track progress a little bit at a time, not to overwhelm anybody, not to make it too big a deal.
For every competitor, an Ironman begins the same way. An early rise and a final chance to reflect on the challenge ahead.
You are Ironman ready. Nobody gets in the way of Chris Nikic's dreams. The time limit is 17 hours, and we had one goal, which is to finish on time.
Chris works his way through the rough surf off Florida's Gulf Coast, getting out of the water on pace to break the 17-hour mark.
All right, Chris, looking good, buddy.
But on the bike comes trouble.
Sorry, bothering your feet.
Chris, take your shoe off.
First, he steps on a hill of fire ants during a nutrition stop.
What's the matter?
Put your feet down.
Then, he loses control of his bike and crashes on a downhill stretch.
I'm thinking, oh my God, this cannot be the end of this race. This is not how this story ends.
Chris gets back on his bike, but with more than 30 minutes of delays. He's now behind the pace to finish within the 17-hour deadline.
Now it's just a run.
As he enters the 26.2-mile run.
This is going to be the best run of your life. You sure? Yeah. At the end of this run are your dreams. He was keeping a pretty good pace up until about mile 10. At mile 10, he had slowed down to almost a crawl.
Chris, got it, man. Let's get speed.
As darkness falls, Chris is struggling. His race partners call in his dad, Nick.
Come on, let's keep walking. How's my boy? I know it hurts, but you're going to get ready. Come on.
At first, I wanted to stop. Instead, I kept pushing through. I knew that my dream was coming.
The pain doesn't go away,
It's blisters.
Okay, it's okay. Those are fake pain.
Fake pain.
It's real.
but with every step, he knows he's getting that much closer to the finish line.
You're going home, Chris. You're going to be an Iron Man.
As we finished, I said, Chris, this is your moment. Go have it.
Chris,
and we heard those famous words.
When I saw him coming towards the finish line, I started first thinking about other parents and their little kids with Down syndrome can now look at Chris and say, our child can accomplish something.
So many moms contact me saying that he's been such an inspiration, that their kids, look at Chris as a role model.
You could call it the power of perseverance. How realizing your own dream can show the entire world what's possible.